Why do we look for ghosts? Why are people absolutely fascinated with the paranormal? Before I answer that, I just want to give a little background on this footage. I'm in an antique shop, and I've always been attracted to antiques and old things and mysteries, as are a lot of people. Most of the stuff we really can't use for how it was meant to be used anymore. Some of it we can. Some of it we just use as display items that make us happy. Most of these antiques are from the 19th and early 20th century. They really made things to last back then. But these are items that people owned. They loved. They used to survive and live their days out. They liked the beauty of color in their artifacts. Perhaps we're attracted to these things because of the energy some of it has. Perhaps we're attracted to these things because maybe we used to use them if you believe in reincarnation. But for me, I like to learn. I like to understand these things. And yes, there's an energy to these old antiques. So why do we like to hunt or look for ghosts? Why are people just absolutely fascinated with the paranormal? Well, I think it just has to do with we all want to know if there's life after death, and we want to know that our loved ones are okay. That's part of it. Another part of it is just the curiosity of it, trying to prove it out to oneself. I have done some of my own research on ghosts and the paranormal because I've run into it when I'm out in the field researching for my other work on Hidden Human Story, investigating ancient mythology and Native American mounds and other different pieces of history. I usually stumble into it. I'm not looking for it. At some point, I would like to study this field more, but I think combining a knowledge of items and artifacts and things that meant something to people will help someday when I'm studying these spiritual encounters. But I want to be respectful. I had a video out where I was in a cemetery looking at the history of the cemetery. That cemetery was supposed to be very hot for paranormal activity, and I did catch some orbs on my film. I was trying to be respectful when I made the video, and I talked more about the history because I was very fascinated with the age of the cemetery. I did put it out on YouTube, and to my surprise, someone made a comment about one of the headstones that I thought was very beautiful, that belonged to their father or family member. I was so glad that I was respectful in that video. So when we're doing these things, we want to have permission and be respectful as to what we're doing and not pester the dead, because that's their time to rest. Now, there are some spirits that do have things that are unfinished and they may need some help. Or some may just be saying hi. In my case, I'm starting to see that some of these encounters actually help me in my research into mythology and Native American mounds and other ancient mysteries. And I'm going to tell you why. There is a lot of talk about giants around the world, and a lot of times they're associated with mounds, not necessarily Native American, but all over the world. If you do some research, as I have done, you will find that the so-called demons or bad spirits usually go hand in hand with stories of giants, and that they're angry because they were wiped out. Now, I'm not promoting for anybody to go out and disrespect any mounds, any graves, or trying to do ceremonies. That is just ignorant. And you shouldn't be doing that. You need to be respectful. But it does come into my research as I go out and I'm trying to put the pieces of the puzzle of the past together. So on this channel, I'm going to be doing different things. I'm going to be looking at thrifting and antiques. And if I do happen to stumble upon something paranormal, I'm going to put that here. Down the road, I'm not sure if I'll go out and try and do any active investigations. I've been on some group investigations, but I want to be respectful. And quite honestly, a lot of the places that are open for group studies have entities or spirits that I really don't want to be around. They're too negative, and I don't want them following me home. I had a chance encounter with something in an old barn, and it did follow me home, and I had to do a few things because that spirit is not at rest, and I had to take care of a few things, and I'm still working on that. I have too much going on that I just can't have all kind of things following me home and causing problems in my safe and sacred environment. And that is something you should think about if you are going to go out and start doing these things. Now, if I do encounter something along the way and it's meant for me to study it a little further, I will, but I will not be disrespectful. I will not try and pester anything. It's their rest time. But I do have that curiosity as well. And if it's meant to be, and I'm meant to encounter something and do a discussion on it, I will. But I do think this channel can be unique in that there's a lot of very interesting history of old objects or things you find in thrift stores. And some of them, quite honestly, do give you that creepy vibe, especially some of the artwork from the 19th century. It almost looks like there's a spirit to it. It isn't just cheaply made prints. There's something captured, especially on those old paintings with portraits of people or even old photographs. So there's something unique about that. But for now, I want to do different things on this channel, and I hope you enjoy it. And we want to be respectful when we do go out and encounter paranormal situation so that we don't pester those that are in rest time or drum up problems or bring something home with us that we really don't want. But for me, I'm doing lots of research on a different channel, and I've written books, and my research continues, and I feel that all of this comes together eventually. So I hope you enjoy what I'm doing here. I'm going to be doing some different things on this channel. Like I said, some thrifting, looking at antiques. If I come up with some strange stories or hauntings, I'll be putting some videos together on that. But for now, I'm kind of enjoying learning about the objects. And you never know when that will come in handy. Thank you.